0, 1.
You'll look fish tanks up on YouTube and they look perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect fish tank. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Tonight I want to do a little something different for my channel. First of all, we're going to enjoy an adult beverage because it's my day off and I'm on vacation. I have 7 fish tanks in this basement, and tonight I want to work on these fish tanks. I want to explain to you guys each fish that's in these tanks, how I maintain these tanks, how I clean these tanks, the plants that's in the tanks, and what it takes to keep fish alive inside of a fish tank. I want to explain to you guys the difference between a balanced tank and a cycled tank. So let's go on this journey together. If you don't mind, let's do it. All right, this is the first tank I'm going to work on. This is a 55-gallon fish tank. Inside this tank, we have angelfish, electric blue acari, denison barbs, and pictus catfish. So I want to work on this tank because, as you can see, it has algae growing all over the glass. And it's been about a month and a half since I've done a water change on it. I have pothos growing on most of my tanks because pothos help my water quality. But you still need to do your water changes. So let's get it started. All right, guys. So I cleaned the glass on this one, took out 50% of the water, and now I'm filling it back up. So what I use is Prime. I use about a cap and a half of Prime for this 55-gallon fish tank. And Prime only dechlorinates the water. So it takes all the chlorine out the water, all the heavy metals out the water. And I have a hose that takes the water out and runs it to my sump pump. And then I have another hose coming from my kitchen upstairs that's filling up the fish tank. And yes, the water is cloudy, but that's because I'm putting new water in and I just got done messing with the fish tank. Once I turn the filters on, everything will smooth out. And as you can see in this fish tank, I have sponge filters, 2 of them. One there and one there. All right, guys, let's talk about this tank here. This is a 125-gallon fish tank. This fish tank has African cichlids inside of it. We have peacocks, we have mbuna, there's a hat, and there's also a severum and a catfish inside of this tank. This tank also has pothos growing on top of it. And if you don't know, mbuna stands for rockfish. They're from Africa. And in the African language, one of those African languages, mbuna means rockfish. Also, I want to explain to guys, maybe there's some professional fish keepers on my channel watching this video, why I have a severum in with my African cichlids. Because my severums don't get along. And they have been in this tank for about 2 years now. These mbuna are actually full grown. The peacock is still growing. The hap is still growing, and the catfish is fully grown. This tank has been up and running for maybe 4 years. One more thing about African cichlids. This is the only tank I have that has special conditions. The substrate that you see on the bottom of the tank is crushed coral because African cichlids need a pH of at least 8 or better. So the pH in this fish tank is about 8.0, maybe 8.2. And the reason my Severum survives in that high of a pH, even though Severums enjoy a lower pH, is because these fish aren't from nature. These fish were purchased from a store, and that store purchased these fish from a breeder, and that breeder bred these fish in normal water. So don't stress yourself out about pH. Get your fish in the water, acclimate them the right way, and they'll grow appropriately. Just keep them in a balanced fish tank. All right, guys, let's talk about this fish tank. This fish tank is a 60-gallon high fish tank. It has a Severum, a Jewel cichlid, and a Salvini cichlid inside of it. The Salvini is always hiding. So I don't know if I can get you guys to see him. I might have to put some food in there, but he's right behind there. And of course, here's my Jewel cichlid. And the reason I only have 3 fish in this fish tank is because of the water volume, fish waste, and my filter. I only have 1 filter on this tank, so I don't want to overstock my fish tank. So in this tank, we have 2 Oscars, a Severum, a Convict cichlid, and there's about a 18-inch pleco up underneath of that wood. This is a 125-gallon fish tank. I actually built this wall when I was building my basement just for this fish tank, because this is my second fish tank I've ever had. This is my first fish tank I've ever had. And as I said, I have 7 fish tanks. So this one here has a FX6 underneath of it and another canister filter underneath of it. It has 2 canister filters because of the bio load. So this is my big boy tank. And as you can see, the pothos is going crazy because the water has a lot of nutrients in it. And that's the point of water changes, is to get most of the nutrients out. Well, as we look at the tanks that have had water changes, let's talk about why there's no mold in my basement with all this water. My first step of defense is my dehumidifiers. I have them down in the basement. I have air movers. I open my windows to keep fresh air circulating in and out. But my second line of defense is that my drywall is mold resistant drywall. And my third line of defense is that I have antimicrobial paint in my basement. I don't buy my paint from Home Depot. I go straight to Sherwin-Williams. I refuse to go to a tire shop to get my transmission fixed. So I go to a place that this is what they do. And I built this basement 5 years ago. Not one piece of mold. So I said we were going to do 7 fish tanks tonight. But I'm going to leave the last 3 little tanks for another day. If you guys like this type of content. If not, I'll keep it to myself. Now, as I said, we were going to talk about the difference between a balanced tank and a cycled tank. Each one of these tanks that I have down here have been running for over 4 years. They can withstand just about anything to keep my fish alive. Just like the lakes and rivers you fish in. They are established. The media is established. Everything inside the tanks have beneficial bacteria growing on it. The plants are established. Everything is established. That's called balance. The only unbalanced tank right now is this one. And that's because it grows algae. That shows me that it's not balanced. But the rest of these tanks are fully balanced. They never receive algae. And the reason this tank receives algae is because I keep the lights on for the Amazon swords. So I may have to turn the lights off a little sooner. Instead of running them 12 hours, I may run them 8 hours. I won't, but that's what you should do, because I don't mind cleaning my fish tanks. Now, a cycle tank, it only takes 6 weeks to cycle a fish tank. That's when your ammonia, your nitrates, and your nitrites are within the cycle. So when fish use the bathroom, their waste becomes ammonia. That ammonia becomes nitrate. Nitrate is still poisonous to fish. So if you ever get a fish tank, just put water in it and your fish die in 2 weeks, it's because the ammonia has killed your fish. The cycle hasn't started. So you need your ammonia to turn to nitrite, and then your nitrites to turn into nitrates. And once you have nitrates in your fish tanks, that's when it's good to put fish in. That's called a cycle tank. And the only way to know is with a test kit. But it takes roughly about 6 weeks for a fish tank to cycle. Once you have a balanced tank, I can take that wood, go buy a brand new tank, take that wood, take some of that media, the bottom, the media at the bottom, and put it in my brand new fish tank. Use Prime, dechlorinate my water, fill it up, and I will have a cycle tank, because there's so much beneficial bacteria that grows on top of things that's in your fish tank. And beneficial bacteria is what keeps your water quality good. That and along with the plants. And that's the difference between a balanced fish tank and a cycle fish tank. Hey, this is Good Living Fishing, man. If y'all enjoy this kind of content, I'll keep it going. Just let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Appreciate your time.